ります。
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Nagasaki Peace Declaration. The mayor of Nagasaki City delivers the peace declaration to the world. The copies of the declaration will be sent out to the heads of all UN member states, as well as to local governments in Japan. At the same time, the declaration will be disseminated around the world through the internet. Nagasaki Peace Declaration. At 11:02 a.m. on the 9th August 1945, a single atomic bomb instantly reduced Nagasaki to a ruin. A vast amount of radiation passed through people's bodies, and the city was struck by heat rays and a blast that defy imagination. 74,000 of the city's population of 240,000 people were killed. A further 75,000 individuals sustained injuries. It was said that vegetation would not grow for at least 70 years. However, today, 70 years on, this hill in Murakami, which was once a ruin, is now enveloped in greenery. Nevertheless, those Hibakusha atomic bomb survivors whose bodies were eaten away by radiation and who continue to suffer from the after effects can never forget that day. The atomic bomb was born of war and was used in war. The conviction that nuclear weapons must not exist and that we must never go to war again was deeply and powerfully engraved upon the hearts of the Hibakusha, who know firsthand the fearsome destructive force of atomic bombs. The peaceful ideology of the Constitution of Japan was born from these painful and harsh experiences and from reflection upon the war. Since the war, our country has walked the path of a peaceful nation. For the sake of Nagasaki and for the sake of all of Japan, we must never change the peaceful principle that we renounce war. Most of our population is now made up of the post-war generation. The memories of war are fast fading from our society. We must not forget the atomic bomb experiences of those in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Neither should we forget the air raids which destroyed Tokyo and many other cities, the Battle of Okinawa, nor the many people of Asia who suffered because of this tragic war. Now, 70 years on, it is vital that we continue to pass on those memories. I ask that those of you who experienced the atomic bomb and the war in Japan and across the globe speak of your experiences and not allow those memories to fade. To the younger generation, I ask that you do not push wartime experiences aside, saying that they are stories of the past. Understand that the wartime generation tell you their stories because what they speak of could in the future happen to you as well. Therefore, please inherit their wish for peace. Please imagine what you would do in such circumstances and ask yourself, what can I do for the sake of peace? You, the young generation, have the power to transcend national borders and create new relationships. The greatest power to realize a world without war and without nuclear weapons lies inside each and every one of us. Listen to stories of the war. Sign petitions for nuclear abolition. And visit atomic bomb exhibitions. Together, these individual actions can create a much larger power. In Nagasaki, the younger generation, which includes second and third generation Hibakusha, are inheriting the wish for peace and are taking action. Our individual strengths are the greatest power in realizing a world without war and without nuclear weapons. The power of civil society is the power to move governments and to move the world. In May of this year, the review conference of the parties to the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons (NPT) ended without the adoption of a final document. However, the efforts of those countries which are attempting to ban nuclear weapons made possible a draft final document which incorporated steps towards nuclear disarmament. I ask the following of the heads of the NPT member states. Please do not let this review conference have been a waste. Please continue your efforts to debate a legal framework such as the Nuclear Weapons Convention at every opportunity, including at the General Assembly of the United Nations. Many countries at the review conference were in agreement that it is important to visit the atomic-bombed cities of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Once again, I make a call from Nagasaki. I address President Obama, heads of state, including the heads of the nuclear weapon states, and all the people of the world. Please come to Nagasaki and Hiroshima and see for yourself exactly what happened under those mushroom clouds 70 years ago. Please understand and accept the message of the Hibakusha, who are still doing their best to pass on their experiences, not simply as victims, but as members of the human race. I appeal to the government of Japan. Please explore national security measures which do not rely on nuclear deterrence. The establishment of a Northeast Asia nuclear weapon-free zone, as advocated by researchers in America, Japan, Korea, China, and many other countries, would make this possible. Fix your sights on the future, and please consider a conversion from a nuclear umbrella to a non-nuclear umbrella. This summer, Nagasaki held an international youth peace forum where young people from 122 different countries and regions considered and discussed peace. In November, Nagasaki will host the Pagbosh International Conference for the first time. At this conference, which was inspired by Albert Einstein, who understood the terror of nuclear weapons, scientists from all over the world would gather, discuss the problem of nuclear weapons, and convey a message of peace from Nagasaki to the world. Peace from Nagasaki. We shall continue to sow the seeds of peace as we treasure these words. Furthermore, 4 years on from the Great East Japan earthquake, Nagasaki continues to support the people of Fukushima who are suffering due to the accident at the nuclear power plant. The Diet is currently deliberating a bill which will determine how our country guarantees its security. There is widespread unease and concern that the oath which was engraved onto our hearts 70 years ago and the peaceful ideology of the Constitution of Japan are now wavering. I urge the government and the Diet to listen to these voices of unease and concern, concentrate their wisdom, and conduct careful and sincere deliberations. This year, the average age of the Hibakusha has now passed 80. I strongly request that the government of Japan fulfill its responsibility of providing substantial care that conforms to the actual needs of the Hibakusha and increase the extent of the area acknowledged as being exposed to the atomic bomb while those who are there are still alive. We, the people of Nagasaki, offer our most heartfelt condolences to those who lost their lives to the atomic bomb. We hereby declare that together with the citizens of Hiroshima, we shall continue to use all our strength to achieve a world without nuclear weapons and the realization of peace. Tomihisa Taue, Mayor of Nagasaki, August 9, 2015.
平和への誓い
Pledge for Peace. Representing Hibakusha, the Pledge of Peace will be delivered by Mr. Sumiteru Taniguchi. Pledge for Peace. On this day 70 years ago, over 70,000 people were instantly killed by the American atomic bomb, which was dropped over these skies. Corpses charred black, voices begging for help from beneath the toppled buildings. People whose flesh had been torn and was hanging loose, with their intestines exposed, faces swollen like pumpkins. People whose eyes had fallen out of their sockets. Large group of people who had died in the Urakami River as they sought water. That night, the land in Urakami was the sea of fire. It was hell. The hell did not end. The uninjured, those who wandered the hypercenter searching for their families, and those who rushed to provide relief and aid suddenly developed reddish-purple spots all over their bodies and died vomiting blood. On this day 70 years ago, I was 16 years old. I was a postman delivering mail. At the moment the bomb exploded, I was riding my bicycle through Sumiyoshimachi, 1.8 kilometers from the hypercenter. Suddenly from behind me there came a rainbow of light, and I was blown over and crushed into the road by the ferocious force of the blast. When at length I attempted to stand, I discovered that the skin of my left arm was hanging loose like a dirty rag from my shoulder right down to my fingers. I touched my back and found that clothes were no longer there, and my skin came away, slimy on my hands. Strangely, I did not bleed a single drop of blood, and neither did I feel any pain. I spent 2 nights in the mountains until I was finally rescued. On the morning of the 3rd day, I was hospitalized for 3 years and 7 months. I spent 1 year and 9 months of that time wandering the edges of death, lying on my stomach because of the enormous burns which covered my back. This gave me bed sores which rotted the flesh on my chest to the bone. Even today, you can still see my heart beating between my ribs, because it is as though my chest had been scooped out. I had been told that my lung capacity is almost half that of a healthy person. The lives and health of those who had barely survived was in ruins. We spent 12 years in abandonment, fighting illness without receiving any aid from the state. In 1956, encouraged by the anti-atomic and hydrogen bomb movements that had grown in opposition of the damage caused by American hydrogen bomb tests at Bikini Atoll, we, the Hibakusha atomic bomb survivors, established an organization for Hibakusha. That I did not join the mountain of corpses that day has enabled me to dedicate my life to the Hibakusha cause. After the war, the Constitution was established, which pledged to the world that Japan would never fight in a war again and would not possess war. However, now there is an attempt to return to the wartime era by forcing through approval of the right to collective self-defense and an amendment to the Constitution. This security bill the government is pursuing will lead to the war. It is an attempt to overturn the nuclear abolition activities and wishes held and carried out by the Hibakusha and those multitudes of people who desire peace. We cannot accept this. Nuclear weapons are cruel and inhumane. There is overwhelming international support for their abolition. I pledge before all those who desire peace to inherit their wishes of all my companions who have passed away over the 70 years, and that as a living witness of war and the atomic bomb, that I will continue to convey the truth of the atomic bombing throughout the world for as long as I live, so that we may realize a peaceful world without war and nuclear weapons. Sumiteru, Taniguchi, August 9, 2015. Children's Chorus. A song titled Souls of Children will be sung in chorus. Shiroyama Elementary School is located close to the hypercenter, and the bomb instantly destroyed the school, taking nearly all the lives of teachers and school children. This song was made to console the souls of those children who died calling their mothers and fathers, and is also dedicated to peace. This song has been sung all this time at Shiroyama Elementary School. Today, the 5th and 6th graders will sing the songs.
気をつけ礼
この
We will now have the addresses from our honored guests. Mr. Shinzo Abe, Prime Minister of Japan. Here today, on the occasion of the Nagasaki Peace Ceremony on the 70th anniversary of the atomic bombing, I reverently express my sincere condolences to the souls of the great number of atomic bomb victims. I also extend my deepest sympathy to those still suffering to this day from the after effects of the atomic bomb. The atomic bomb dropped on that day turned the land of Nagasaki scorched earth, bare of vegetation. 70 years have passed since then. At that time, more than 70,000 people were deprived of their precious lives. In the catastrophe, even those who narrowly survived were forced to endure indescribable hardships in their daily lives. Citizens of Nagasaki rose up from those ordeals, building Nagasaki beautifully as an international cultural city blessed with the World Heritage Sites and wonderful nature. As I look around the restored city of Nagasaki today, I once again think deeply how precious peace is. And as the only country in the world to have ever experienced the horror of war and nuclear devastation in war, I renewed my resolve, while firmly maintaining the 3 non-nuclear principles, to lead the efforts of the international community towards nuclear disarmament in order to realize a world free of nuclear weapons. Especially this year is the 70th anniversary of the atomic bombing. It is regrettable that a draft final document could not be adopted at the 2015 review conference of the parties to the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, but Japan is determined to make even greater efforts towards realizing a world free of nuclear weapons, as we continue to call for the cooperation of both nuclear and non-nuclear weapon states. As an expression of that determination, the government of Japan will submit a new draft resolution on the total elimination of nuclear weapons at the United Nations General Assembly this autumn. At the end of August, the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Group of Eminent Persons meeting and the United Nations Conference on Disarmament Issues will convene in Hiroshima, followed by the Pugwash International Conference in November here in Nagasaki. Furthermore, G7 Foreign Ministers meeting will be held in Hiroshima next year. Through these international meetings, we will send out our thoughts powerfully from atomic bombing sites as a message to the international community. Moreover, through world leaders and youth from around the world becoming directly acquainted with the tragic reality of the atomic bombing, we will advance our efforts still further to realize a world free of nuclear weapons. This year, the average age of atomic bomb survivors is, for the first time, over 80. Also, the Atomic Bomb Survivors Relief Law, enacted to provide support for aging atomic bomb survivors, is now 20 years old since its enforcement. We will continue to develop thoroughly our comprehensive relief measures, covering health and medical services as well as welfare. In particular, regarding the recognition as having an atomic bomb disease, we will consider the feelings of those who have applied for recognition and will expedite screenings of the application so that recognition is granted at the earliest possible time. I wish to conclude with my heartfelt prayers for the repose of the souls of the victims and my best wishes to the bereaved families and to the atomic bomb survivors, along with my sincere prayers for the peace of mind of all the people attending ceremony today and the peace of Nagasaki. Shinzo Abe, Prime Minister of Japan, August 6, 2015. Mr. Kim Won-soo, Acting High Representative for Disarmament Affairs of the United Nations.
It is my honor to greet all those attending this Peace Memorial Ceremony commemorating 70 years since the bombing of this beautiful city. I thank the organizers and all those who gather here. The people of this city carry a powerful message for the world. Nagasaki must be the last. We cannot allow any future use of nuclear weapons. Their humanitarian consequences are too great. I wholeheartedly join you in sounding a global rallying cry, no more Nagasaki's, no more Hiroshima's. When I visited your city 5 years ago, I was deeply inspired by the strength of its people who transformed the awful events of 9 August 1945 into a resounding call for peace. Nagasaki is united on this point. Your mayors and other elected officials, your civil society groups, your academics, your students, and your citizens, led by the Hibakusha, have reached out to all corners of the world to unite the international community in pursuit of a world free of nuclear weapons. I salute the Hibakusha. These survivors present the human face of this man-made tragedy, refusing to relent in advocating hope for a better future. As the average age of the Hibakusha approaches 80, I feel a growing sense of urgency to honor their legacy by finally ridding the world of nuclear weapons. My pledge 5 years ago to stand in solidarity with the citizens of Nagasaki will never waver. I'm proactively working to realize our common goal. 7 decades are far too long for the world to live in the nuclear shadow. As Mayor Taue has said, nuclear weapons were made by humans, and humans can conquer them. Humans can abolish nuclear weapons. The United Nations will mobilize the world's peoples to achieve this goal. United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon.
Mr. Hodo Nakamura, Governor of Nagasaki Prefecture. Today marks 70 years since an atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. On the occasion of the Nagasaki Peace Ceremony, I reverently offer my sincere condolences to the souls of the atomic bomb victims, together with the residents of Nagasaki Prefecture. On August 9, 1945, a single atomic bomb exploded about this hill in Murakami. The horrendous blast and heat rays, as well as massive amount of radiation, instantly claimed the precious lives of 74,000 people and burnt down and destroyed the city. In the city, reduced instantly to the rubble, enormous number of the bodies of the victims lay in heaps, including those who were burned to death like a charcoal, and those who died suffering from the unbearable pains all over the body with swollen skins. Invisible radiation damaged the health of those who saw the death of their beloved families and who were determined to rise up again, causing gradually bleeding, loss of hair, and other acute symptoms. Many of them were put to death without really knowing what had happened to their bodies. However, thanks to the untiring efforts by the survivors, Nagasaki, once a ruined city, was restored and re-emerged today as a beautiful city with lush greenery and aspiration for peace. Our lives depend on the peaceful world, which has been the ardent wish of many people who perished. Making sure to even more firmly establish this peaceful world is a mission we have to fulfill. However, the existence of nuclear weapons that can easily do more than annihilate humankind has become a major threat to the future of us mankind. In April this year, the Review Conference of the Parties to the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons was convened in New York, with discussions on the legal framework toward a world without nuclear weapons. Regrettably, however, it failed to adopt a final document. In order to overcome this current situation and to realize the abolition of nuclear weapons, I believe that the most important thing is to make more and more people deepen their understanding on the realities of the devastation of the atomic bombing. Regardless of the position and stances countries may take, I believe that they can share the strong feeling that nuclear weapons should, under any circumstances, never be used once they know what have really happened by atomic bombing. It is our sincere wish that the head of each state, as well as people around the world, will visit the cities bombed with atomic weapons, witness the tragedy and inhumanity of nuclear weapons firsthand. I ask the government of Japan once again to always spearhead endeavors by the international community and to make every possible effort as the only country that has ever suffered a nuclear devastation in order to move towards realizing a nuclear weapon-free world. Here in Nagasaki, we have taken every opportunity to hand down the realities of atomic bombing to the younger generation, as well as to send a message of peace to the world by organizing atomic bomb exhibitions and talks by atomic bomb survivors, as well as through activities of high school student peace ambassadors and university students. In November, Nagasaki will host the Pugwash International Conference, and the message of peace will be disseminated from Nagasaki to the world. With the citizens of Nagasaki, with the aspiration to make Nagasaki the last place to suffer the atomic devastation, will take every possible opportunity to convey the horror and inhumanity of atomic bombing to the people around the world and call for the abolition of nuclear weapons, as well as lasting world peace without delay. As this year marks the 70 years since the atomic bombing, the average age of the atomic bomb survivors is over 80. They are getting older and still suffer from the health problems caused by radiation and other factors. Victims of the atomic bombing and those people who experienced the atomic bombing but not yet recognized as victims due to the limited extent of the area specified as export area have only limited time left for them. I therefore strongly ask the government of Japan to feel deeply about their last earnest hope and to work even harder to speed up screening processes for the recognition as having an atomic bomb disease, along with the expansion of support for people who experienced atomic bombings. Today, August 9th, is an unforgettable day for the people of Nagasaki Prefecture. It is a day of prayers as well as a day of pledge that horrors of nuclear weapons shall never be defeated for the third time in the world. In concluding my words of consolation, I extend my heartfelt prayers for the repose of the souls of the atomic bomb victims and for the continued good health of the aging atomic bomb survivors and those who experienced the bombing, along with my pledge to further our efforts to realize the abolition of nuclear weapons and the lasting world peace. Hodo Nakamura, Governor of Nagasaki Prefecture, August 9, 2015. Telegrams and messages from various circles are posted on the board located on the right-hand side of the entrance to this ceremony venue. Please take a moment to read them. Now a song, 1,000 Paper Cranes, will be sung in chorus. This song was produced as a commemoration of the 50th year since the atomic bombing. The lyrics by Kanae Yokoyama from Chiba Prefecture were chosen from the public and set to music by a composer, Michiru Oshima from Nagasaki City. Today, the song will be sung by the first year and second year students of Junshin Girls High School, alma mater of the composer Michiru Oshima. The conductor is Ms. Kayoko Matsumoto, a teacher of Junshin Girls High School. The accompanying music is played by Mr. Makoto Uchida. Mr. Uchida is playing music for today's peace ceremony.
The peace declaration made today is the strong wishes of Nagasaki citizens. As we renew our commitment, we will strive to realize everlasting world peace. We thank you for your kind cooperation for smooth proceeding of the ceremony. This concludes the 70th Nagasaki Peace Memorial Ceremony. For those who wish to offer prayers at the Peace Memorial Monument, please remain seated until preparations are completed. For those who are leaving now, you are also requested to remain seated until the staff come to guide you. And all those guests also requested to remain seated until the staff come to guide you. And for those who wish to offer prayers at the Peace Memorial Monument, please remain seated until